Anamika Yaduvanshi, motivational trainer and a life coach. And in this series called the Anamika Yaduvanshi Show, I talk to successful people from different fields and I talk about their journey of life. Today, I have with me Mr. Himanshu Periwal. He's a co-founder of a celebrity to fan e-learning platform Unlu. At Unlu, Manoj Bajpayee teaches acting, Johnny Lever teaches comedy, Sania Mirza teaches tennis, and many more different celebrities are teaching different skills. Interesting, isn't it? Yes. Himanshu is an IIM graduate from Calcutta. He's also an investor and a mentor. I had this amazing, interesting conversation with him. You want to watch it? Sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of the Anamika Yaduvanshi Show. So, Onlu, unlock learning is a very unique concept where celebrities from different fields come and they teach their craft on one platform. Like someone is teaching, Manoj Bajpayee is teaching acting, Johnny Lever is teaching comedy, Sania Mirza is teaching tennis. So how did this unique concept came to your mind?
Well, to be honest, it's a natural evolution of creators. If you may want to understand, let's say the top level, like a 10,000 feet overview, right? How traditional jobs are changing and they are evolving into, let's say, if you ask any teenager right now, what do you want to be? And we did this survey, right? More than 50% people said they want to be a YouTuber or a podcaster. Right now, what we understood out of that is the next 10 years will be the years of creators to boom, right? I mean, they will not rely. So when this generation turns 24, 25, they will not rely on traditional jobs,
Right.
right? Now, for them to be able to produce meaningful content, for them to be able to, I would say, excel in the field of creating good content, you
Right.
need to upskill them, right? And like if you look at, let's say, a YouTube traditional channel, there are only a handful of, let's say, less than 1,000 creators who would have crossed a million odd, sort of following and views and all of that. Right now, there are more than a million odd creators in India right now, right? And the pace with which this number has grown from 1 million to 10 million, and we expect this number to hit 100 million in the next 5 years, right? You definitely need a platform which can help these creators to learn various nuances of, let's say, acting, singing, writing, comedy, music, any all of these creative genres, right? And that's where we understood the need, like how the ecosystem is changing and where this gap is for us to help these creators produce meaningful content, enable them to sort of collaborate with each other, and then eventually handhold them to monetize this, right? Like our eventual aim is to allow 100 million creators achieve universal creator income. Universal creator income is a term which is synonymous to, let's say, a sustainable income for any creator, right? Like you don't have to rely on, let's say, another job to run your family and to sort of survive yourself, right? If you just pursue your passion in that skill, you should be able to sort of survive, right, with a sustainable income, and that's where we are headed.
Right. That's interesting. And like you just said that, there's a lot of content which is being created and this industry is yet to grow a lot. There is a lot of scope in it. And like you said that we need to check what kind of content is being created because people who are watching, they can't watch junk because if they do, then it is not the creator is not adding value. Then I think that's important to check the quality of content.
Correct, correct, absolutely, Ananka.
So that's interesting. That's interesting. So tell me, Himanshu, where do you see Unlo in 5 years from now?
Well, we see Unlu at the helm of in the creator economy, right? I mean, right now, what you see Unlu as you mentioned, right, a platform where creators come to learn, right, with from celebrities, from people who have been there, done that, like people who are at the top of their craft, and whatever they are doing, be it Ruskin Bond in writing, you can't find a better author than him. Let's say acting, right? I mean, there's so many people, but to learn acting from somebody like Manoj Bajpayee, is going to be a completely different experience, right? Like the journey he has been through, what kinds of acting he has done. Like he talks about Navras in his class, like if you take his class, right? The 9 types of acting. So there's a lot to learn from these people, and our ambition is to sort of at the first step work with every single you call it like celebrity, or like the top instructor in their field, to provide that learning, right? In 5 years, I would say, from learning to community and collaboration to the entire monetization piece, the entire funnel will be powered by Unlu for 100 million plus creators. And eventually, like our game, as I said, right, our aim is to sort of provide sustainable income. So let's say after 5 years, if there is any teenager or anybody like a 15 to 30-year-old person wanting to get into any of these creative fields, the first name that should come to their mind should be Unlu, right? That's what our aim is.
Wow, that's amazing. And I think, like you said, the cycle from creation to collaboration to monetization. Because
Yeah.
अगर create करते रहेंगे and nobody will collaborate, then it's like, you're just playing it solo. When you
Exactly.
collaborate, you're involving other people also. And
Correct.
when you're putting so much effort, creating, collaborating, if you don't monetize it, then you will lose interest in the long run, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So all these three aspects have to be taken care of. And like you said, if anybody could think of doing this, has to think of Unlu in future, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's an amazing thought, Himanshu. That's really great. That's really amazing. So I heard one of your sessions and you talked about importance of network building, how important it is to build a network.
Hmm.
So tell me some tips for network building, both professional and personal network, and the importance of it also.
Sure, Namika. See, I mean, I can probably talk with my experience, right? I mean, as a student, or probably a younger person, I was more introvert, I would say, right? Till I would say in my engineering days, I was sort of kind of very restrained to my own group of friends, let's say 10, 15, 20 friends, right? I mean, I didn't sort of network or
I
speak
will,
with.
I will interrupt you here, Himanshu. You saying introvert, you are saying that you're being an introvert in your childhood, and you got so many celebrities on one platform and convincing them to teach. Nobody has done that before. This is such a new thing, and
Mhm.
convincing them to do it, because Manoj Bajpayee or any other person, Ruskin Bond, he is in Masuri. Telling
Mhm.
him to sit back and record some videos, make a course, it requires some sort of skill, really. And you're
Right.
saying that you were an introvert.
Right, Namika. So see, I mean, that's how and I'm sure, like, a lot of people would be able to relate to it, right? I mean, uh, be it whatever age that you find yourself as introvert or not being able to network, right? It's absolutely fine, right? Almost everybody goes through this cycle, right? At a lot of age groups, you feel like, okay, I'm having a good life, right? I don't really need to sort of
Yeah,
uh, build my network, right? I
no
mean, but
interest.
so essentially, when I would say when I went to IIM Calcutta, that's when I realized the importance of networking, right? I mean, I realized that okay, MBA is not just about, let's say, learning and having a degree, right? Obviously, I mean, degrees matter, education matters, right? But the most important thing that a student takes out of an MBA college is the network, right? Be it your batchmates or your alumni, right? The access that you get to the entire network, which is still helping me till date, and I'm sure that till for the next 50 years also it's going to help me, and likewise my batchmates and everybody who has been through those institutes, right? So
Right.
that's when I understood the importance that okay, even if you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to do anything on your own, and even if let's say you want to be an extremely successful person as a techie or as a management grad or anybody, right? I mean, in a job as well, right? But you need that network to help you in situations where let's say you're stuck and you want to get things done faster, right? Or even let's say you need mentors, right? I mean, I'm at this stage, I mentor more than, and I've invested in more than like 20 startups, right? So uh, what are these people sort of getting out of me is the network that I've built, and I'm able to help them through my network, right? I mean, and essentially that's how the chain works, right? I mean, you sort of build network and the network has another sort of a network. So like, I think somebody, I don't remember who quoted, but uh, in this
Network
world.
is your net worth.
Yeah, network is your net worth, right? Absolutely. And another very interesting fact is, in this world, anybody you take, right? Anybody living in, let's say, any distant country in even Africa, right?
Mhm.
That person cannot be more than seventh degree away from you, you know? So let's say like how you find a second degree connect or a third degree connect on LinkedIn,
Okay, okay.
right?
Connection के ऊपर connection, like
Yes,
one person
exactly.
connected to another. It's like a chain connection, you are saying.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
in fact, I remember, yeah, I mean, my mother-in-law, she wanted to find a doctor in one of these countries in Africa for helping, paralyzed patient,
Mhm.
right? And she's a doctor herself, and she was able to do it at the exact seventh degree of of the connection, and from there I understood, like,
The
it is
important.
not impossible to find any sort of connection in any part of the world, right? I mean, it's just the will that you need to have. I need to explore and exploit your network, and make sure the other person also does that for you.
Right. So you need to just find the first link of the chain, and then one link will get connected to the other one.
Yeah,
Right.
correct.
So some tips for networking.
Well, I would say upfront that you have to go out of your comfort zone. That's what I have felt in my early days. Now I don't feel it, obviously. I mean, because it's networking is not really, let's say, so till the time you find it as a forced conversation, you feel that okay, it's like you have to go out of your comfort zone, right? But
Mhm.
if you try and make it, let's say, an interesting conversation, let's see what you can get out of this person, or what you can sort of help this person learn, right? That is where networking becomes interesting all of a sudden, right? I mean, because every person is able to teach you something, or at least you are able to give some
Right.
insights to that person. I mean, I find joy in doing it now, instead of, let's say, feeling discomfort in speaking with somebody I don't know.
I
So I
think
think.
that's the beautiful part. Like you said, Himanshu, when we just think it as a pressure that, okay, fine, you have to get to know to this person, and you have to get something from this person. So it doesn't go far. It won't take you far. But when you give something, you take
Hmm,
something, it's an exchange of values.
correct,
Like
correct.
you said, everybody can give you something and everybody can teach you something.
Yeah.
So whenever there's an exchange, I think that network, I think it
Hmm.
is, it can take you really far, right?
Absolutely, I 100% agree, Anamika, and I think that's like the starting point for anybody to
Hmm.
sort of engrave that in the mind, that it's not about like you're forced to sort of network. It's not like like a course being taught in the class, right? I mean,
Mhm.
it's something that you're doing to learn something on your own will, right? So I think if you have that in the mind, and that's the reason why you're networking, I think it will become very easy for you.
Right, right. I think it's very important to keep in mind when we network that if we are asking for something, we should be ready to provide some value to the other person also, help him, or whatever is needed in exchange. I think that should be taken care of, even if in the later stage, right?
Correct. Absolutely. And I don't know, like, let's say if a lot of students are going to watch this or hear this, but my advice to them would be to take part in initiatives. Let's say if it's every college has some or the other fest, right? College festivals that go
Right,
on, or
right. College
any
fests,
kind
yeah.
of activities for which you need to speak with companies, corporates for sponsorship, or for
True.
event conducting or anything. You should take part in such activities, right?
Mhm.
And take part in activities which will allow you to speak a lot with the strangers, right? So I think that will help you get out of your comfort zone and start networking. So I think for I would say, like, people in the colleges and schools, I would really advise that could be a good starting point.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point which you put, that we should be ready to talk to strangers. That
Hmm.
makes us move out of our comfort zone. And I think, Himanshu, that nowadays children, like, children who are in their like teens from 13 to 18, they
Mm-hmm.
do not talk to strangers. They find it tough to talk to strangers. And I would say, like 10 to 20 years back, children were unstoppable. They were so talkative. They would just talk to anybody. And
Hmm.
parents had to shut their mouth. Just please shut up. Who are you talking to? That person is a stranger. Right? I
Hmm.
think it's a complete shift, right?
Right, right, absolutely. Agree. I mean, it's obviously the digital age, right? You would probably want to network on social media
On
instead of,
Instagram or on social media. Yeah,
yeah,
not like one on one.
correct.
Okay, but networking is important. Like you just said, it's very important and to help others and to seek help. That's how you grow. That's important.
Correct.
That's great. That's great insight. So Himanshu, you worked with Amazon in 2013-14, and you were the one, who launched some of the products and Amazon in India, and you were their product marketing head also. Tell me, as per you, what has made Amazon what it is today?
Well, I mean, I would say just a very small part of like the entire company, honestly. I mean, even though, let's say, was part of that initial team which was helping it launch in India.
Mhm,
But, I would say it's Jeff Bezos' extreme focus on customer obsession,
mhm,
which is, even though I had a very short stint of almost like 1.5, 2 years there, but it is something that is still engraved deep in me in terms of my product thinking, right?
mhm,
You have to be obsessed about your customers in any kind of experience that you're providing to them, right? So much so that, Jeff used to reply to his customers. He used to get like thousands of emails as customer escalations,
mhm,
right? And the famous story which you'll also find online is, in case he was pissed off or in case he was angry about any customer escalation, he would just send a question mark, and tag it to the relevant vice president or senior vice president. They would tag it to their team and all that, right? And
mhm.
I have seen those mails come, and when those mails used to come, like the entire floor used to be on fire, finding out the reason and sorting it out, and there used to be a double question mark also, by the way. That used to mean your job is in fire, right?
To find out,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so yeah, I mean, look at that man's obsession for customers. There are like CEOs of Fortune 500 companies who would not care about like the customer placing an order for
Yeah.
like $10, right?
Mhm,
But that's something, it's extremely important to build. Like if you look at so many players when Amazon entered India, right, and a lot of them have either lost the entire value or they've not been able to scale up right after Amazon entered. And
mhm.
the only reason that Amazon was able to scale up is this extreme obsession about customers, right? So I would say that's the most important thing, and then obviously the type of team and the kind of values, and obviously like a legacy platform that you have, which helps to sort of make a platform or a product much better than let's say the competitors. All of those aspects are also there. Like let's say if you remember back in 2013-14, the shipping used to take like 2-3 days, right? Now you have a
Mm.
same day shipping, right? It's
Yes.
only possible because you have the entire framework and logistics and all those sort of like the legacy built in place, which is tried and tested in 10 other countries, right? So that's yeah, the reasons.
I think that's very important. Like you said, customer satisfaction, keeping the customer in mind.
Hmm.
This is actually a craft to practice, to master, I would say, because everybody would be concerned about their sales.
Hmm.
After sales, what happens, how the customer feels. I think only few are able to understand that and
Yeah.
think in that context. And I remember when Amazon came, Flipkart used to be there, and we
Hmm.
used to buy books from Flipkart.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And I think Amazon also started with books only, is it?
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah. That's
Right.
absolutely right.
So
Even in
any
India,
book
I
which
mean,
was
in
not
US also.
available, I used to take it from Flipkart. And then
Mhm.
Amazon came, and then now so I need everything from Alexa to some high-tech gadget or even a phone. It's easier to just pick up a phone, order it on Amazon, and you just get this thing that your order has been shipped. So it's
Yeah.
sorted, and you're actually sure about the quality also, that it's good and it's
Correct.
very
Yeah.
well taken care of. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So customer satisfaction is the key, which a
Correct.
lot of
Correct.
Indian companies lack.
Yeah. Agree.
So that's amazing. Okay. So you have had an amazing journey from engineer to IIM, then Amazon, and many more such things. You must have learned a lot of things. And there have been many important learnings which might have changed the course of your life.
Mm-hmm.
What is that one learning? How was your life before that learning? And how has that learning transformed your life today?
Um, Well, I would say it will be very tough to pick, let's say, one learning. There have been like a lot of learnings. I've had a lot of falls also, like from the outside, the journey might look, it's very simple, but I mean, like when I took the entrepreneurship plunge, at that time, like any other entrepreneur trying to start on his journey or her journey, I was sort of as
And sure.
I would say cautious and frightened,
Mhm.
right? But like then I spoke with other entrepreneurs who are in the similar group, and I realized that okay, probably not as cautious or frightened as them, but
Mhm.
so the only learning before I started this journey was that you need to prepare very well. You need to uh, sort of don't take decisions in a matter of moments, right? I mean, it's good to sort of be decisive as a leader. You need to be, but try and base things on data, or try and base things on your experience, right? Instead of just an intuition, because that really helps, right? Like for leaders, intuition also comes from like 20-30 years of experience and a lot of
Experience.
data,
Yeah.
right? And that's what they start calling intuition, right? I mean, if they take a decision in moments, right? But as somebody who is just starting out, if you start taking decisions basis just intuitions, it can become like your chances of success will reduce, right? And that's a fact, right? So I would say one learning is that if you want to increase your chances of success in whatever you're doing, you need to prepare very well. So for instance, like the first 5-6 years of my professional experience, having worked with Amazon and then worked with a startup called Ixigo for almost like 4 years,
Mhm.
sort of scaled it from like almost like 20-30x in this 4 years, right? I learned a lot in terms of team building, in terms of owning various divisions, domains, and having worked with multiple companies during that time, right? So I think preparation always helps you increase your chances of success,
Mhm.
and that could be like one of the learnings I could probably share right now, right? Nothing is impossible, right? I mean, if you prepare well, if you, let's say, have a very I would say very sort of acute goal in mind or target in mind, that okay, this is where you need to be, right? And you set out a path of 5 years, and then you plan well and work towards it. I think nothing would be impossible.
Right. Great. Great. So you were saying that preparation and planning your decisions wisely, backing your decisions with data, that's important. That reminds me, Himanshu, in one of the interviews by Mr. Murthy at Infosys, I just heard him saying that at Infosys, even if the CEO has to make a decision, it has to be backed by reasoning, analysis, and data. Nobody can take
Right.
decisions without, any sort of data, any sort of reason. So
Mm-hmm.
that, I think, it really means a lot. If you're taking a decision, it's important you need to understand and go into the depth of it, that why you're deciding, because it is, it'll have a big impact on your career, on other people, and everything.
Absolutely. Yeah,
that's
absolutely, 100% agree.
that's great. That's great. So tell me, Himanshu, do you feel insecure about something?
um on the professional front, I would say uh, insecure might not be the right word. I would say, I mean, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things that I have second thoughts about, or I feel uh, what if moments,
Yeah, exactly.
so
What if fear? I didn't want to phrase it like a fear thing, so
huh.
insecure sounded better to me, so that's why.
I mean, I would say a lot of things. I mean, let's
Mhm.
say a lot of small things, a lot of big things also, right? I mean, let's say as an entrepreneur, or even a person who's running something on his own, and not just an entrepreneur, like, there are so many people. Entrepreneur is probably like, it's kind of a restrictive word, but even people who are in jobs, and anybody, right, for that matter,
Mhm.
in their day-to-day lives, you have a lot of questions about the decisions that you're taking, about the steps, or how
Doubt.
you're sort of planning your next 6 months, one year, right? I mean, so
Right.
let's say, for instance, I'll give you an example, like, the entire product roadmap we're planning for the next one year, right?
Mhm.
Now, the what if moment for me there is, let's say, what if I'm sort of banking 70-80% of my chances on the next 3 months for this product to become successful, right? What if there is, some issue with the product market fit, right? Or anything like that. So
Yeah.
I think what I've learned over the past with a lot of failures till now across various companies as well as in my own personal this thing is that you need to, again, as I said, you need to plan well to be able to become more confident, and have plan B, have, let's say, sort of other things. I mean, again, it's called planning rationally, right, versus planning abruptly, right? So I would say those things help. But yeah, I mean, just to your question, to sort of answer it in very short way, I would say yes. I have my moments of what if every other day. So yeah.
Yeah. That's why I asked you, even, if a person like you who can think of such a creative platform, it's really creative, thinking कि celebrities ko you'll bring on one platform, it's really risky. Some
Mm-hmm.
may agree, some may disagree.
Mm-hmm.
So that person can also be insecure about certain things. So it's okay
Mm-hmm.
to be not sure sometimes, but again, back it with planning, decision, and all those things. It's
Yeah,
important.
absolutely. Absolutely. So see, again, like as a leader, at times you have to be insecure, but you don't have to tell your team that you are insecure, because
Yeah.
otherwise if their confidence loses, right, your work will not get done, right? Or let alone just work, right? I mean, if their motivation reduces, uh, probably you will go on a different tangent altogether, right? So you have to sound extremely confident. You have to sound as if, okay, you're as confident. I mean, you're betting your life on it, right? If you're able to give that motivation, any team can turn around, a dream to a reality, right? I mean, I believe that very, very strongly. So I
Right.
think, while as leaders you can have your what if moments, but your team cannot.
Your team cannot. I remember in one of the interviews, Dhoni said that before some matches, which were like really, really pressure matches, Dhoni would announce in the room that he's going to score a century, so that his team would cheer up. Okay, Dhoni is going to handle, so we have to play our best. So I think
Hmm.
that's very important. Leader has to sound confident. Leader has to,
Correct.
say big things and try to do it also.
Hmm. Absolutely
Right.
agree.
So that's important. That's amazing. Okay, Himanshu, tell me, like, your platform where like you're teaching crafts. So in India, most of our population stays in rural part of our country, right? So
Hmm.
what do you think, as per you, in our system, what is more important? Mainstream education system or skill building education system?
Well, both are important in their own stream. The reason, so see, mainstream is something that I would say, let's say, if 100 people are getting into the education stream or learning stream, 100 out of 100 of them are going through the mainstream education, right? If you talk about creative education, maybe only two or three of them are going through the creative education path. And
But
in
what
fact, that,
happens now, Himanshu, here? Why I say mainstream? Because in rural part of India, what girls and boys they do after 12th, they would go for normal graduation,
right, right, right.
normal post graduation, and then they're 23, 22, and no employment, no skill, don't know what to
Mhm.
do. Sitting for the government exams and all sort of competitive exams and not making it again, being disappointed. So,
Hmm.
what would you advise? What is your take on it?
No, in fact, as I said, I think right in the beginning of this one, right? So what we are seeing, and especially see our traction majorly is coming from tier 3, 4 cities. Like more than 70% of our creators right now on our platform are from tier 3, 4 cities, right?
Okay, all
So
right.
the major shift that we are seeing right now is creators emerging from these cities. See, like if you take Bombay, for example, right? Mumbai has, again, lakhs of creators out there, and they are able to sort of tap into or access, some network after a lot of struggle, but still they are able to tap into, right?
Yeah.
Now you think of, let's say, a creator living in Jabalpur or XYZ cities, right? Even let's say NCR, right? Ghaziabad, Noida, and all these places, right? They are not, I mean, they don't have their networks. They don't know who to connect into and how to sort of put forward their art and skill. So
Right.
I think our platform is giving wings to such people
Mhm.
and helping them first upskill and then sort of present their
Money.
skills to the right people. I mean, we have signed partnerships with the largest distribution platforms in India. We're working on opportunities with the largest directors, right? I mean, we have Dharma Productions. Shashank Khitan is on our platform, right? And he's taking a class. We have Dharma Productions who's taking interns from us. So we have all the platforms to provide great sort of, I would say, opportunities for creators to present themselves as well as sort of, help them monetize.
Okay, all right, great. So tell me, Himanshu, do you always believe in yourself, or do you also seek self validation from others sometimes?
No, a lot, a lot of times, not sometimes, a lot of times. So you have to seek self validation for a lot of things that you're doing, right? And that's the reason why you have mentors. That's the reason why you have friends,
Mhm.
to understand. Your family is probably the best support that you can get, and would be as unbiased as you want, So I would say taking sort of self validation, or rather like taking validation from people in your network is absolutely fine. You should do that. In fact, you should, if you're not doing it,
Mhm.
uh, you're again like probably, I mean, there could be chances that
Self
you're taking the
obsessed.
wrong decision, right? Yeah. So I think I completely agree.
So
It's
it's
important
important
for
to take
people.
feedbacks from others so that you get to know others' viewpoint also, and you get a better idea, better perspective about things.
Correct, correct, correct. So in the product world, see, for us, like as a product manager or as somebody who's running product, you take validation from the end customers, right? Let's say if I were to launch a new product, right? I would probably go to like 1,000 people who have used my product, 1,000 relevant customers to my product, understand their feedback, and then launch it, right? I mean, that's called user acceptance testing. Or let's say you're doing a minimum MVP. It's in the product world, it's called minimum viable product, right? So you launch something, test it out, do a user acceptance testing, and all of this is validation, right? So be it, let's say, on the personal front or professional front or product front, validation is extremely important.
Product validation, yes, but sometimes what happens is why I put up this question, because a lot of people, they're so obsessed with their ideas, with their
Hmm.
belief, that they live in that self belief is a very positive thing also. But
Correct.
sometimes it's like excess of too much is bad, anything is bad, excess of anything is
Hmm.
bad. So when you are too much into self belief and you're not taking viewpoints of others, then you kind of get lost.
Right. Agree. Agree. No,
Uh,
in fact, it's very important. I think you brought up a very good point, and I think the message should go out to people to take out validation from relevant people. So yeah.
right. Are you spiritual?
I won't say, let's say, spiritual. Yeah, I mean, I'm spiritual, but not so religious, if you were to understand it like that. Spiritual, yes. I mean, though I would want to be more spiritual to be able to sort of have a very balanced work life sort of scene, but not able to do it right now. I mean, I have my wishes to go for like spiritual camps and all that, but I mean, time constrained as well as commitments is tough. But yeah, I mean, I love the idea of being spiritual, honestly. I
Mhm.
would say I want to be spiritual, but I'm not that spiritual till now.
Mhm. Okay, all right. Thank you so much for sharing that you would like to be spiritual, and you are thinking somewhere, sometime you will think on this line as well. So tell me, Himanshu, last question to you is, what is your advice to a teenager who's in school, somewhere between 14 to 18 years of age, a youngster who's in college, and a budding entrepreneur?
Well, honestly, to the school student, I would probably say, try to like sort of broaden your horizon. Don't try to be disheartened if, let's say, you really want something badly and you're not able to get it,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
Although at the same time, I mean, that's probably start with preparing well, right, for what you want, right? And at the end of it, if you get it, awesome. If you don't get it, try for like a plan B, or try for other aspects, because honestly, with so much of experience that I've had, with so much of people that I've come across my life, I know the most successful entrepreneurs or businessmen or people who are doing extremely well in their lives
Mhm.
did not go to the best of colleges, right?
True,
And the
true.
people who went to the best of colleges, they are probably doing a very, very average job right now, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's not, let's say, going to the best college is not like a stamp of approval that,
Guarantee of being successful.
yeah. So guarantee of being successful is hard work, and sort of trying to network and understand, okay, what could be the best opportunity for you to grow and scale up.
Right.
So that would be my sort of advice to the school students, because I see a lot of people sort of sort of digressing from their paths very soon now,
Yeah.
especially youngsters. So,
Mhm.
to the college student, I would say, I mean, see, honestly, as a college student, I was, I wasted my engineering time. I would say I could have started up at that time, could have started up much earlier. So I would say, I mean, that's like a very, very crucial time of your lives. I haven't done it again, like as a disclaimer, but I'm seeing so a lot of people. I keep attending pitches from IITs and DCE and even IIMs, right?
Right.
Startup pitches. So I'm baffled to see there are like tons of people who are coming up with such good startup ideas, right? I mean, of late, like in the Bits Conquest is the name of the event.
Okay.
I was baffled to see the people what they're doing in their colleges, right? And I would say to people who are in the college, right? I mean, start early, and it'll help you. I mean, even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, you still do something, right? I mean, simply doing or completing a degree is probably not like the average is increased.
So
Uh,
you were saying focus on the content, what you're studying, not the marks.
exactly. Yeah. Right. Right. So focus on the content as well as try and do something above and beyond the curriculum.
Above and beyond.
Is what I'm trying to say. So I
Think
think that is
outside the
extremely important.
box.
Yeah, build your base, build your network. I mean, that's the time to college time is the best time to build your base, build your network, try experiments, do something, launch like one or two startups, fail a lot of times because failure teaches you a lot of things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and
To budding
you
entrepreneurs.
to entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
I would say probably I won't be the right person. I mean, I'm still a budding entrepreneur myself, learning a lot of things. So, but yeah, I mean, I would say people who are yet to sort of cross that hurdle, right? That initial hurdle.
Yeah.
Uh, keep sort of working on the vision that you started off with, but do a lot of validation. Let's say pivots is like a term that is being sort of used heavily in the startup ecosystem. Pivoting is absolutely fine. We pivoted. We took a lot of sort of changes in the product basis user feedback.
Mhm.
So be open to all of those things. Be flexible, be open, and hire a lot of good people. If you have a very strong initial team, your chances of success increases, right?
Yeah.
And funding is just one of these steps. I mean, it's super hyped, right? I mean, I know so many successful people. Yesterday I was speaking with one of my friends. He has been working on his startup for last 4 years, not funded. He is doing more than $10 million of annualized revenue right now, right? So funding is just a very small step. It's not, let's say, startup with a funding chahiye, that's a very big misconception. So think of viable business ideas and sort of scale up with a very good team. I think that's my advice.
That's amazing. I think that's really interesting, and a lot of people are going to get great insights from this. And thank you so much. Thank you so
Sure,
much,
Navika.
Harsha. This was a lovely conversation.
Same here. Thank you so much for your time and hope this can help a lot of people.